Hey guys, welcome back to the Table Talk. It's been a while, we're not in our usual studio because Ming and I have not been well.
Really?
That's why we're here in the doctor's office.
This is a real doctor, by the way.
This is, oh my gosh, this is not just a real doctor. This is the realest doctor we've ever met, guys.
Sorry, then before this, we meet who?
Just fakers. Fakers on the street. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Helmy, Haja Mydin, who is a lung surgeon at Pantai Hospital, where we are today. Fun fact, Ming and I were born in Pantai Hospital.
In this hospital. Yeah.
This is the OG return.
But it's been a while, obviously.
This is the Bali Kampung.
Obviously, although you covered it quite well.
Oh yes, thank you. You specialize in internal medicine and you are a subspecialist in respiratory medicine, is that correct?
Yes, so I look after the lungs.
Love it.
What's also internal medicine? Let's just go through your lung surgeon.
Yes.
No, so I'm not a surgeon.
You're not a
surgeons
surgeon.
are people who cut stuff up.
Oh,
You don't cut stuff up.
I don't cut stuff up.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good to know.
so I know some people think only surgeons are real doctors.
Oh, no, how dare you?
I know, right?
No,
Terrible.
how?
Disgusting.
And then the thing that I do is basically I figure out what's going on. So I diagnose patients, I figure out what the problem is, then try to find the right medication. Of course, in some cases, you do need to cut stuff out. Then I get my friends in surgery to come in and help out.
Right.
Generally speaking, I don't do procedures.
So you identify the issue and then they can get to work.
As a team, because sometimes I don't need to get them involved. Sometimes I need to give medication, which I think is very much in keeping with what our conversation today is going to be about.
Yes, correct. The brains behind the operation. What are we talking about today,
We're talking about a symptom and a condition that I am continually struggling in my life.
I like that.
It keeps me very appreciative of the next breath that I take.
Wow.
Doctor, can you tell the listeners today, this is a very specific episode, guys. Because and I'm going to be listening to this again. We're talking about asthma today.
Oh.
What is asthma?
What is asthma?
Doctor?
Right. So asthma essentially is a situation or condition where your airways become inflamed. So it's swollen inside, bengkak inside.
Right.
And as a consequence, it becomes more constricted.
Oh, yes.
Because your airways are like pipes, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Airways, the wall of it becomes more and more thick.
So you have less air.
You have less air going in. Now that can then contribute or can produce various symptoms. So perhaps you would know this better than I do.
Oh, tell me about it.
You've got breathlessness, chest tightness.
Yes.
Sometimes you may wheeze.
Right.
Sometimes you may cough.
All
you
the
may
time.
have some phlegm.
Yes.
And these are the things that people can present it when it comes to asthma.
Yeah.
The key thing is one, you've got that inflammation, but the other thing is you've also got triggers. So
Triggers.
everyone's a little bit different.
Yes.
You may find that
Consistently.
maybe spending too much time with him is stressful and it may cause you to have asthma
Does that-
attacks.
wow.
It can do.
By the sight of someone, that's crazy.
Depends on what your
The trigger is.
condition is lah.
Right.
So it's not always just like chemical
So
externally.
it's not just physical stuff. So you've got external things. So for example, recently it was hazy, right?
Yes.
So the haze can cause issues.
Morning also asthma.
Morning.
Through the night.
Typically,
Everything.
you've got issues at the early parts of the morning and later at night.
You're right.
Because there's a change in how the body works.
Oh, you're right.
And there's also a change in terms of temperature, in terms of humidity. All these are things that can cause problems with your asthma. Or rather, it can be a trigger and can make your asthma more poorly controlled.
It's crazy.
So that's external, but internal also you got other stuff. So your stress, your runny nose, your
I did not know
reflux,
this one.
stuff like that.
Yo.
Hold on. You mentioned something just now. I don't know we got the time to go through it. The time of day and it changes how your body works in certain times of day.
That you can probably do an entire show on how the body works differently at different times of the day.
Oh, that's another episode for you guys, man.
That makes so much sense suddenly.
Yeah.
Because I feel different things at different times of the day, like how my nose and my lungs work. But you know what? Let's just keep on going first. Doctor's time is very precious. Like, our lungs. That's
so I'm going to read out
precious.
a stat. According to Asthma Malaysia, approximately 2 million people in Malaysia suffer from asthma, where 90% of them are uncontrolled cases.
I'm uncontrollable.
50% of children are wheezing by the age of 6. I was one of these children. I consider myself an asthma survivor.
Stop.
We don't know if that's a
That's not a
proper
term.
thing.
Is that a term?
But the reason why I say that is because I used to have asthma.
Really?
I don't anymore.
Yeah. He did.
So
Did I grow out of it?
there is this misconception that people can sometimes grow out of asthma.
So I'm still...
But you're probably someone who's got things under control.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Because asthma isn't something that you can cure.
Oh my God.
What changes over time is once again your level of sensitivity and also the triggers. So you
Right.
so it's like a threshold, right? And
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
spectrum. Asthma is a spectrum. It isn't like good, bad, or ugly. It's like
yeah.
from mild to moderate to severe.
Yeah.
And it depends on the individual, depends on what your triggers are, what
Yeah.
your environment is like.
Yeah.
And once again, you may know better in terms of what are triggers for you.
It's from like the spectrum is like from hee to that kind of. That's how severe
That's
the
not
asthma
the
is.
medical way we do it, like, but yeah, I suppose I get where you're coming from.
Okay, so it's not
Wow.
that. So it's not that people may have.
You
been
never got over
cured
it.
of asthma.
You didn't. You still have
it's
it.
just under control.
And once again, the
yeah.
threshold in which that it's required
Triggered,
for
yeah.
you to be triggered
Yeah.
has changed over time.
That's a very
And
interesting.
as you grow older, once again, you may have changes in terms of hormones. Pregnant women, for example, they may find that some people, when they are pregnant, the asthma may become a little bit worse.
Ooh.
Although conversely, in some cases,
It might
may
get
become better. Exactly.
Yeah, because the whole hormone makeup changes, right?
Everyone's
That's
different.
That's
Everyone's
something I
different.
learned. Like the woman you marry is a different woman after she's pregnant.
I will not comment. Yes.
Will
Okay.
not comment.
That's
I have no experience on this.
But it's true. Mingyu's asthma actually improved and it kind of like disappeared. You know,
Kinda.
as Mingyu grew older, but mine stuck with me. But you're right. I didn't notice things like now. Actually, like you talking about it, I had asthma since I was young. I've been through 1,001 colored inhalers.
Oh.
And now I'm on like the new stuff.
The
like
new
Sim. Can I say the
No, you
name?
can't say
Yeah, I'm
brands.
on that new stuff. The really like good stuff. But I have noticed that, like you said, the triggers, right? I've noticed that when I was younger, little things can just make me very breathless, like running too much or stuff. But as I grew older and I did more physical activities, that went away after a while. And today, this is the irony, right?
yeah,
The
this
only
sounds
thing
crazy.
that gets my asthma starting is if I laugh too much. Yeah. I don't know why.
That goes back to the point where I made about, like I was joking about being stressed, right? Actually, emotions can have it.
Oh.
Or rather, emotions can cause it. So stress, anger, laughter, too happy. Yes.
So you have to be zen at all times, guys. Ideally.
Sorry, I can't laugh at anything anymore.
No, but also interesting enough. This might not be asthma related, but other triggers for him: seafood,
Yep.
and bad oil.
So yeah.
Is that, like,
Did
how
you
does that
say
work?
bear oil?
Like bad oil.
So
Yeah.
you know the asthma buffet, right?
The asthma
Something
buffet.
that I've learned as you know the afflicted is that asthma comes with like this trinity of things. You have asthma, you have allergies, you have sinus. Like it comes with this holy trinity
trifecta,
of
yeah.
pain. Yeah.
Rhinitis,
Ooh.
stuff regarding your nose,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Asthma
Yeah.
and eczema.
Yes, I got that for my 30th birthday.
So those
Okay.
three, ultimately, if you think about it,
Yeah.
they are all issues where there's inflammation
Yes.
and when there's sensitivity. It's just that it's affecting different parts of the body.
Help.
Doctor, you are.
So that is where we help you lah.
You're out of
So
control.
that's the crazy part. On the dot, we were in Korea shooting. 30th birthday, first time ever eczema outbreak.
Oh.
I was bleeding into my shoes. And then it just
probably-
as fast as it came, it left. And now it's like mild.
I suppose the question is, what were you doing for your 30th lah?
What were
We
you
were
doing?
in
What
the
were you
fields
exposed to? What were
of
you drinking?
Korea.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I'm also allergic to alcohol. I'm allergic to so many things. I can't drink. I can't smoke for obvious reasons.
Getting
And
real
I'm
personal
also short-sighted. So, is it allergy to sight also? I got, right? But it's true. Like this whole thing, it works. Like, do people usually have, like asthma patients have allergies and it's just this trifecta of inflammation?
So those three things can occur together.
Right,
They
right.
don't necessarily have to occur together.
Right.
And one thing that's important to bear in mind as well is what you are sensitive or reactive or allergic to may not be necessarily the same for others.
Yeah.
So people
yeah,
always
yeah.
come to me and ask me, hey, what's the pantang? What can I eat? What I cannot eat? What can I drink? What can I be exposed to?
That's true, that's
But ultimately, everyone's different. So
yeah.
the similarity is that you're reactive to something.
Yeah.
That something may differ depending on the individual.
Yeah. I love that. Let's move on. I want to talk
My
about
life.
managing asthma. I think that's a big part of the conversation today. So people with asthma, just like you said earlier, it's not something you can cure, right?
Well, now we know. We thought you were cured.
I thought I was cured.
Yeah.
But at least in your case, you're controlled, you're fine.
Controlled.
So that, no,
So
guys.
people like you, I mean, if you're going to go talk
People-
about medication,
yes.
right? People like you say labeling.
Hey,
right? Sorry.
it's me, sir. No, it's good. It's good.
Individuals like yourself,
Myself, yes.
you're well controlled. You got no symptoms. As far as you're concerned, it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't need any medication, lah.
I don't need it.
But then on the flip side, there are
Yes.
people who do have symptoms,
Yeah.
who may find that wheezing sound and whatnot is occurring quite often.
Yeah.
Then they may need to use inhalers.
Yes.
Yeah,
And is that one of the more common ways of managing?
It's probably the most common one.
Yeah.
And the key thing
Yeah.
is to figure out which inhaler to use and how often to use it.
Ooh.
So you gave the example of
Yeah.
as a child running around,
So, yeah.
exercising.
We went from, can I actually say the names of the inhalers? So
No,
I can't say
you
the names.
can't.
All right,
No
I can't
brands.
say. So basically, we went from like the blue grayish inhaler to like some orange inhaler. And then we went off vapor inhalers into powder inhalers. And then along the way, what really changed for me is I think I had some pills or something like that, where it like my health really took a turn for the better. And then now it's just like upkeep. Like once in a while, if the attack hits, that has been my medicine management this whole time. Yeah.
So you mentioned a few different color inhalers, right?
Oh, yeah, all the
so,
colours.
So there are the types that we call relievers.
Yeah.
That's the one
Yes,
you use
yes.
for immediate relief,
Yes.
as it says on the thing.
Like
lah.
help me.
Help you. You're
Yes.
running around, you feel something, you want to take it immediately.
Yes.
Now, if that is happening once in a blue moon,
Yes.
Blue inhaler, blue moon, I suppose.
Blue moon is every 2 hours, right?
No.
Oh.
So this is where I think there's the misconception lah.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't be using your blue inhaler for
Right.
more than twice a week.
Guys,
Okay.
one more time for the kids at home. The blue inhaler should not be used more than?
Twice a week.
Last time when I was a kid, once every day.
But let me clarify that. lah.
Yes.
Not to say that it's dangerous or what.
Yeah.
But if you're using it more than twice a week, it's an indicator
yes.
that things are not well controlled.
Oh,
So you shouldn't
So
be.
you shouldn't be on the relieving medicine.
you're basically...
you shouldn't be using it for too often. It is there for emergencies. It is there to help you get
Right.
going.
But
But then if you're constantly using it,
Yeah.
then it's a sign to the doctor that inflammation I was talking about
Yeah.
Right.
is not under control.
It's not under
Right.
So
control.
you need inhalers
Yeah.
Right.
that address the inflammation,
Yeah.
that get things under control. So ultimately what happens is you have a normal life and you don't need that blue inhaler a lot.
normal life.
What I hate the most, right? You
Yeah.
look at movies.
Yes.
There'll be some kid running around using the inhaler, and it's always a
he's
weak kid
better.
who
Yeah.
cannot
Weak.
breathe.
Yeah,
right?
it's not
which
the case,
is
right?
bullshit.
Misrepresentation.
Yes, lah. Because what you may call it, when it comes to asthma,
Yeah.
the vast majority of patients, especially kids, they should have normal activities.
Yeah.
We encourage them to go out and play sports.
Yeah, they're not weak.
They're not weak.
They're more reckless, actually.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But we need to be able to empower them and be
Yes.
able to give them the right tools, the right medication, so
And
that
to
they can
feel
do all
safe
these
lah. Yeah,
things
yeah,
and be
yeah.
normal kids.
Yeah.
And once again, this perception, especially in the media or in Hollywood movies, where you equate the use of inhalers with being weak or asthma being weak.
It's not
the
accurate.
case.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
accurate. And if anything, it's a disservice to kids who otherwise should be able to
Correct.
lead a normal, healthy
Correct.
life.
Is it true? So since we're on management, right? One of the management things that my mom also helped with was she sent us to swimming lessons. This physical activities that do breathing, take breathing,
Definitely.
help. Yeah.
So I always tell my patients to not just focus on breathing activities. So for example, your yoga, Pilates, these are things that actually help improve with your breathing. Cardiovascular ones are good. So
damn.
running, swimming, those are
Right.
things that are good as well.
So it really does help lah.
does help.
Because
It
it
does.
did take a turn for the better after swimming a ton lah, basically. But yeah, there was a very big misconception about the inhalers and how to use them. And now it's just changed because we went off vapor. Because as a kid, I also realized the more you use the vapor stuff, right, got ulcers lah, then sometimes got throat
by vapor, you
problems
mean the
lah.
nebulizer,
The
the gas.
nebulizer,
Yeah, the one that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
and then as a kid, there's a small tube that you pump it into.
Yes.
Oh my god, that looks really
Flashbacks,
advanced now
man.
though. That's a lot
Last
more
time
advanced.
the plastic was real flimsy.
Real
I
flimsy
see.
stuff.
Yeah.
And then you graduated from that to just directly in your mouth.
Okay.
But I realized that it was even back then twice a day.
Oh man.
Oh no,
I think,
twice a day for 2 weeks.
I think what's shocking about that is the statistic shows that 47% of Malaysians are in that category of just, not having it under control. They're using it, not knowing that that's not supposed to be the case, right? I just now, Ming Han, you mentioned something about pills being taken orally as well.
Yeah, so I there was a time I remember I finally got prescribed and some actual pills to eat for asthma, which was what about my breathing? Do I put it through my nose and crush it, or
Okay.
the kind of
That's
thing,
a
or
different
That's
sort
a
of-
very different type of medication.
right.
Yeah.
But we did have pills, and that was that part of life where I can really say my asthma really started getting under control with the exercise, with the new not you.
Siri just
You're
wants
not.
to jump in on this one.
That was a part of my life where I can really say that with the swimming, with the new pills and everything, it was not with that inhaler, most of it, that everything got really under control. Is there this we've learned about this term OCS? What's that? Is that something that I could have taken?
Is that medicine?
Yeah, what is this?
Is that the cure?
OCS is oral corticosteroids.
Yeah.
So it's steroid pills.
Right.
Now,
Pills.
so tablets, there are a couple of different tablets, in fact, 2-3 types of tablets that you can use for asthma.
Right.
But OCS is referring to steroid tablets. Now, steroid tablets, they are very good to quickly reduce inflammation. So use it for all kinds of stuff, from arthritis to asthma.
Right.
But we use it sparingly
Yes.
because ultimately, as with any medication, you want to balance the good and the bad.
Yes.
And you have to balance the benefits versus the potential risk.
For sure.
So one key misconception sometimes is people tend to associate steroids with all kinds of bad things.
Yeah.
If you Google steroids, they'll be like,
Yeah. It's a gym junkie mindset, right? You don't use steroids,
That's true.
it's not good for you.
So the key thing here is to use it appropriately when
Yes.
necessary.
yes.
But in inhalers, especially the controller type inhalers, there's actually some steroids in it.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yes.
that's a completely different type of steroid, different type of molecule, and the dosage is also far less than your regular tablets. So
Yes.
you don't get the same sort of side effect profile that you do with
Yes.
oral tablets.
Understand.
If I'm not wrong, the steroid is necessary in those inhalers because it needs to act fast.
It,
Right?
Actually, no, it's to reduce the inflammation. So,
Fast. Oh, okay,
so,
okay.
so when you are using the inhaler, the controller inhaler, the main goal is to reduce the inflammation so that the control is better.
Right.
So you're ultimately aiming to have no symptoms.
Got it.
But by using it regularly over time, you're gradually reducing the inflammation and you're keeping it under control.
Got it. So this is all like new stuff. Like today, there's newer medicines, there's newer inhalers.
Well, there's definitely some changes and there's definitely lots of new medication that's coming on board because what we have also realized as time has gone by is that asthma isn't a homogeneous type disease. It's not everyone's got the same type of asthma.
Yeah.
There are different types of what we call phenotypes, different type of genotypes. Basically the underlying mechanisms may differ. So some people may benefit from certain types of more personalized medication.
Yeah.
But the general population, so once again, the vast majority of people, if you use the right inhaler, and that means the right type and also the right form of inhalation, so your technique is right, whether using this little device or you're pressing and breathing in the right way,
Technique.
those things are actually more than sufficient for the vast majority of patients.
That is true. I think because for the longest time because my mom, I'm the first kid, and first two kids have asthma, don't know how to deal with it. So like there's a
looks
learning
older.
process. Sorry? Oh yeah, we're both kids.
I
Like the same
think he looks
members.
older than you, so I'm surprised.
Oh yeah, again.
It's true.
10, 15 for 15. But I think it's that learning experience along the way that really made, now as you say this, right, it's really about the right medicine fitting you, the right kind of treatment fitting you, and the right things to do. And yeah, triggers are just different across, even personally, the triggers change the whole way through. But today we were talking about, just now you said, the asthma research and treatment currently, can asthma actually be cured with new breakthroughs or new research in the field? Do you like what has been like from your point of view?
I think as of now, there isn't really any clear indicator that there is a cure. So if we are looking at cure as something that will completely get rid of it, back to zero, and therefore you'll never get it ever again,
Right.
it's very, very tricky. So it's like it's like diabetes. Once you get diabetes, you don't really
go away.
there's no turning back.
It's just controlling.
What you can control things, make sure your sugar levels are under control.
Right.
At least in diabetes, actually, if you catch it early and you change your diet, you can actually try to reverse it. But it's very, very rare and very difficult. But and hypertension, all these things are diseases where people have accepted the fact that, I got it, but I need to control it. And once again, it's the same thing. You manage your diet, you manage your medication, you manage your stress and whatnot. So same thing with asthma. You've got this, but you can do various things to reduce your risk and reduce your attacks.
I think that brings us to the next one. What are some common misconceptions or myths about asthma that you've heard from patients, from other practitioners, people coming in be like, hey, actually I can control or I can self-medicate with, whatever inhaler I'm taking. What's that been like?
What's that? Essential oils for asthma. What are these kind of currently, what are these myths? Like we mentioned one thing that we just sorted out was the relievers, are they sufficient to control asthma? Right? We talked about relievers as well. But what are some myths that you come into close contact with?
In fact, we talked about quite a few misconceptions actually. The steroid issue, the reliever issue, the kids not being able to go to school and play sports issue.
True.
So these are things that we tend to get a lot of questions of. Essential oils, some people feel that it helps open up your airways.
As a doctor, what is that? What do you feel about that one?
Okay, this is what we call a leading question. So there's no medical evidence to suggest
It's all just
that it's
psychological.
helpful. But actually, in some cases, it can actually be harmful.
Yes.
Especially when you're having a proper attack, your lungs are particularly sensitive. So when you're breathing in stuff,
These vapors.
Go and taro something some more.
you go taro all this stuff and all that. So it can actually make things worse. So when it comes to my patients, I see both. I see some patients who come and say, hey, I took that menthol, it was awesome, blah, blah,
that
blah.
lavender really
Then
sorted
I'll
me
be
out.
like, okay, whatever makes you happy, as long as you're getting better and you're taking the right medication as well, then that's okay.
Then,
But I always warn them, just be careful because, sometimes just you may be able to inhale things properly, but you just change the type of oil and then
You're gone. Yeah.
it goes the other way around.
And I think Malaysians especially looking for a great deal all the time, buying on e-commerce websites. Lavender from where? Yeah? You inhaling stuff that you don't even know comes from where.
So I think
that's important.
will be a safe thing to say, right? We are totally ruling out these crystal rocks and the glowing quartz, that you put in the corner of your room.
If that one works for you, then power to you guys. Yeah, but listen to your doctor. That's what I'll say.
That's definitely.
Is asthma life-threatening?
Yeah.
This is something that people are still like, oh no lah, it's okay lah, What do you feel?
I just need to get over it. I need to breathe for a while.
Just walk it off.
Yeah. What do you say?
Would you say?
Is it life?
You do have to breathe for a while. That helps definitely.
Ideally, you should be breathing.
Ideally, continuously. Yes.
Ideally, yes. The key thing, I suppose, is that once again, it goes back to your control. So if you're someone who you're increasingly using your reliever,
Right.
then once again, that's an indicator that things are not going as well
Something's
as they
not
should
working
be.
out, right.
And you need to see your doctor.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a specialist. You can see a GP. At least they can start with the initial medication, reassess things and whatnot. People shouldn't be dying from asthma, but they still do. That's an unfortunate fact of life. And a lot of it is actually because of the lack of education, lack of awareness,
Right.
and also the lack of proper medication. So I'll give you an example, right? There was a study done in the UK a few years ago. That study, it was a 1-year study looking at every single person who died in UK because of asthma.
Okay.
And they had about 1,000 plus, I can't remember the exact number. This is in a country where everything was free.
Yeah.
Developed country, no issues with cost or anything like that.
Yeah.
And despite that, over 1,000 died. And of that, more than half died because of inappropriate medication.
Ooh.
So it's not even like very severe, and
Just
or
using it wrongly.
just not using it wrongly, not using it, or using the wrong type of inhaler. So one of the things about the relievers was actually from that study where they said, oh, look, this person, in the few weeks up to dying was using the reliever like multiple times.
Which is incorrect.
Which is incorrect.
Yeah.
In your what do they call a term? Is it called in your residency in this hospital?
Oh, yeah.
Or in your
My work.
Expert
your work?
opinion.
What is your experience? Has there been in Malaysia itself near-death experiences because of poor asthma management? What's been the most serious one you've encountered?
So, I mean, unfortunately, we still see deaths in terms of asthma attacks.
damn. Okay.
Sometimes it can be complicated by other factors. So, one is the medication, of course, but two, also, if let's say they have concurrent pneumonia, if over the past few years we've had COVID, right? So, what we found with COVID is that if you were someone with asthma, but your asthma was well controlled, your risk was actually similar to someone who did not have asthma. But if you had asthma and you were not using your inhalers, then when you kena COVID, it actually became worse. So your risk and your complications were higher.
Dang.
Then this would be people who then, because the airway is so tight, oxygen cannot go in, you need to put them on a ventilator.
It's worse lah, basically.
Can be
for
worse.
That's rough stuff. That's rough stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think because of that, my mom, myself, my family, we've been very extra cautious, especially during that whole COVID season. I guess it just comes down to understanding how to manage it. And if you guys, you do know people who have asthma. I think the important thing is not just management, knowing which medicine to use, how to use it.
This one's
and
important,
because some people, right, if I'm not wrong, especially during Chinese people, they take one medicine and then use for life one.
true.
This one worked for me when I'm 9 years old. It
Because
should
that
work for
worked
me
for me
at
at that stage
50,
of life.
To be fair, it's not just Chinese people.
I can't speak for everyone, but I'm Chinese. So
Yes.
It's more people think. I suppose,
Update yourself.
But I suppose the other challenge with asthma is it's very variable. So you've not had any issues since you're a child.
No, yeah.
Right? And then whereas you may find that things change depending on a week-to-week basis,
Triggers,
what you're
yes.
exposed to and all that.
100%.
So you may find that actually what is needed to control you also varies and changes over time.
Yeah.
So it's not something rigid.
No.
It's very flexible depending on the individual.
It's like a surprise, like Kinder. Can I say Kinder Bueno? It's like the egg. You don't know what's coming out. Surprise.
Kinder Bueno, meh?
No, Kinder Bueno got egg because I buy for my little girl.
Okay.
Got surprise toy inside. But this surprise asthma, So
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, it changes over time.
It's over time.
The severity, yes.
And this is where ideally you have a conversation with your doctor.
Yes.
And you have like a plan.
Yes.
So if something happens, what do I do? Because your goal is always to be without symptoms.
Yes.
But once you've reached that goal, then the secondary goal should always be to then minimize your medication.
I feel like I'm there now. Like it's very, very minimal.
Question,
already,
doctor?
yes.
My question is, how often should I be seeing a doctor about my asthma? Because again, like Ming was saying, once I have the puff, once I have, the whatever inhaler, right? And then everything's under control. In my mind, it's sorted. So that's the biggest one that we are hoping you guys take away. It's not sorted, yeah? But if I think it's sorted, when's a good period to check in? What's a good touch
I was
point?
going to say, don't scare people so much.
I want to. Sometimes people need it. The scare tactic works. But no, how often should I be touching base with my doctor?
I think it depends very much on how well controlled the asthma is. So let's say like for you, there's no point you seeing a doctor regularly.
Unless you want to hang out,
You can hang out fine, but you don't have to hang out here, you know.
Yeah,
There are
yeah.
better
True,
places to hang out
true.
at.
Like for me, this counts as a session, right?
Yeah, I'll be giving a bill later.
done.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
damn well. Okay.
What should we call it? So in your case, right? So it depends. So let's say you've had a good period of time where things are under control,
Right.
like a year.
a year perhaps. Once again, if you have a good GP,
Right.
someone who you're comfortable with, someone you've got a good relationship with, someone who
Yeah.
knows your story, your
Just
history.
monitoring in the history.
Just
yes.
monitoring is
Yes.
fine. So you may not even need to see someone or
Right,
meet the
right.
doctor on a very regular basis. But if it's poorly controlled or you've just had an attack, then like for example, this morning I saw a patient just had an attack. So given all the medication, then I told her, because things are quite bad, then I want to see you in the next week.
Right.
But there's always that caveat. If things were to progress or to get worse in between, then don't
Just
wait.
come back
Just
lah.
come
Like, why are
back.
you waiting for a week?
I like
Yeah.
Similarly, if someone's very well controlled, then
Right.
I'll say, actually, you know what? You're so well controlled. You know what to do. You know what the plan is. You know the difference between reliever, controller, and so on and
Let's
so forth.
wean you off.
Only come back if something
We
worse
wean
happens.
off. So first thing is we wean off.
Yeah.
Then we say we wean off, but we come to a stage where, okay, this is the minimum you need. You definitely
Right.
need a controller.
Confirm.
Right.
But then you're otherwise okay and you know what to do. So maybe you don't have to come back and see me also.
Yep.
But you've got our number, you know
Just
where to
in case.
contact us. So if there's any doubt, any questions, any problems, then of course come and see us.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that.
Got it. So I think for us, and for you guys, something that we can do for our friends and family, the importance of actually just looking out for those who are just, a bit like, hey, what's wrong with your breathing? Why does it sound like there's a
Why
train
you
in your
wheezing, son?
nose, that kind of thing? Like this kind of symptoms, it's a good reminder to everyone, hey, you got see doctor or not recently for this thing.
The general rule is you shouldn't be thinking about breathing.
That is
Right?
true. You shouldn't be thinking about your friend breathing as well, right?
Yeah, if you're sitting next to someone.
He shouldn't be reminding you he's breathing.
Yeah, so if there's heavy breathing or yes. That one usually just go to ED lah.
Straight away. Don't even come here. Just go
Don't
straight
come
away.
here. So go straight to action. Correct.
Right. So everyone, I think this is something important, especially because I think almost 1 month ago, there's been a very big haze warning that there's a lot of it passing through from up north. Guys, be on the lookout for your loved ones. Understand like this wheezing symptoms. Come and see Dr. Helmy. Get the proper treatment, proper medicine.
Yeah.
And upkeep lah. No, don't use the one from 1970 today,
Yes, I think that is.
Yeah, one thing, actually,
good advice.
one thing I had to learn,
Don't
right?
use the same
Don't-
thing from 1970.
No, I
yes.
must wash at least, from
Black
1970. So yeah, remember guys, so some final wrap ups from everyone, right? Asthma can be controlled, yes?
Yes.
If you, use the proper
Yep.
medication and updated medicine. Asthma patients can lead a normal life if it's well controlled.
You're very passionate about this. I like that.
Yes. Like the small, weak, frail kids,
No such thing.
only
No such thing.
movies.
Only
Yeah,
movies.
look at me, am I a small, weak, frail? Sometimes, yes, but
Okay.
more importantly, I'm stronger now. And controller treatment, is it important for asthma? Controller treatment? Controlled treatment?
I suppose controller inhalers.
Controller
Controller
inhalers.
inhalers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
there
would
we
be
go.
important. That has its role in terms of making sure that the symptoms are under control.
Yeah.
The patient is asymptomatic.
Yeah. Guys, a quick exercise for you guys. If you have asthma and you are on inhalers, do a quick check when you get home, or if it should be with you actually. If your inhaler is blue and you've been using it more than what was recommended,
More than twice a week.
More than twice a week?
Confirm.
Yo, man,
Confirm.
I need to see Dr. Helmy as ASAP. That's all I'm
Confirm.
saying. That's all I'm
More than
saying.
twice a week. The diagnosis last time is twice a day.
That was insane.
Ulcers every day. Just insane. A lot of ulcers. So
Okay.
guys, don't ignore your asthma symptoms. You can take a quick quiz today to help keep your asthma in check.
Ooh, I like this. I like
and
quizzes.
Show the results to your healthcare personnel.
Yeah.
From the quiz. So there's a QR code.
There is
alright?
a
There's
QR code. Scan it and
Please
take
scan
the
it.
quiz. It's very quick. It's fun. It's interactive. Share it with your friends and family. There's no giveaways, but the best prize is your health.
It's health.
Saw that.
Best giveaway.
Yeah.
It's not us to
Thank
give
you.
also actually.
It's not us.
Take care of your own health lah.
Please, Doctor,
be-
thank you so much for your time. I appreciate
Thank you
your
for
time. I know
talking
you're
about
about to
this.
run off and save some lives.
Yes.
Any final words to your fans, friends, and families?
I think nothing beyond what we've discussed. So I think the I suppose the so-called call to action, right,
Yes.
is to basically be fully aware that
Yes.
you shouldn't be suffering. You shouldn't have symptoms. These are things that can be controlled. And there are also other elements we haven't talked about, which can also be controlled, like your smoking, your vaping, and all these
this
other
is,
things, right?
definitely
Yeah,
another
yeah,
These
episode,
are, if you know what your triggers are, try to avoid them.
Yeah.
But bear in mind also that with the right medication, you should have things under control.
Yes.
I love that.
And you should be able to have a normal life.
A normal life. Just
100%.
enjoy that.
Yeah.
Guys, remember one more time, if you're watching this on YouTube, try out the Reliever Reliance Test on the Breathe Better website. And if you're listening, check out the description box for the link, get the QR codes, get it sorted. It's fun, it's interactive, guys. Just save your life, please.
Thanks
Thank you.
Thanks for listening, guys. The podcast is also on Spotify and Apple. Join the Discord at discord.gg/the takeaway table. Doctor, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Take care, everyone. Stay healthy.
safe.
Breathe clean.
Breathe clean.
Get checked. You know,
That's the new
asthma
one.
is like diarrhea. You shouldn't be dying from diarrhea in this day and age.
It's true.
Right. Last
It's
time people
true.
got though, it was an issue. Your friend got diarrhea, say bye-bye.
Yeah.
At some point.
They still have it in less developed countries.
Well, not us.
unfortunately.
Not here today.
We hope so, yes.
We hope so.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Doctor. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Bye.
Asthma.